You're tuned in to Wrestling with Weight with your hosts, Sam Amato and Mike Botte. Podcasting to help you win the biggest match of your life. It's you versus you. Tips, stories, and more from the world of health and professional wrestling. Ring the bell.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wrestling with Weight podcast.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's good, everybody?
Welcome to the Wrestling with Weight podcast. This is episode 3. I'm Sammy Smiles.
I am Mike, the Botte. Sam,
What's up, bro?
tell me who you were just reenacting right there.
What do you think I was trying to be?
If I had a guess, Howard Finkel.
Boom, money.
The Fink?
Knuckle up. He's
Not
the
bad.
man. I enjoyed his announcing. Pretty exciting.
Well, you know what? He gets you fucking amped up.
Yeah. How did I do?
B minus.
I'll take that. I didn't get an F. High five. I think you're being a little generous, but I'll take it.
All right.
All right, man.
But Howard Fink got you pumped up just like you're about to right now. Tell us what's going down today.
Ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm done. On today's card, we've got 3 segments that we're going to be doing on today's episode. The first segment, we're going to be going over the Wrestling with Weight Challenge. It's Mike, the Botte, against me, Sammy Smiles, a.k.a. Sammy Mac Bakua, whatever you want to call me, your homie, Dad. Only one person gets to call me Dad right now.
Maybe
But
two.
The challenge, Mike and I are going at it until WrestleMania weekend. Who's going to be crowned the first Wrestling with Weight champion? What's the second segment on the show, Mike?
We're going to go ahead and talk top 5 all-time personal favorite big men in the wrestling industry, Sam.
I'm curious to find out what your top 5 are. And we're going to finish the show with our main event. We have a very special guest. Mike,
Who is it?
I know, before we get to his name, I know you being an Everett guy and I'm an Everett guy, whenever we're out of town and we tell people where we're from, we tell them where we're from.
The Dirty E?
No, because nobody knows what the Dirty is unless you're from the Dirty E. That's
true.
so towny.
And you know what?
We
it's
tell
not
people
the
we're
Dirty
from Boston,
E.
right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, we're like, oh yeah, from
100%.
Boston. But our next guest is legitimately from Boston. And I know that pisses them all off. People from Boston that live in Charlestown, live in Dorchester, Roxbury, Jamaica Plain.
Yep.
If you tell them you're from Boston and then they ask you follow up where, and you say Everett, they're going to be like, you're not from Boston. This guy's legitimately from Boston.
Legit from the bean.
He is a local wrestling promoter, and he's got a weight loss story for you. His name is Pat Dillon. We're super excited to have him on the show. He's going to be our main event. Before we get into the show, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Farrah the Exterminator here. I'm a local Boston-based pest control company, female-owned and operated. We do it all, commercial, residential. You got insects, you got rodents. Call us, 617-816-5004. We just don't kill people. Check us out at theexterminator.com. That's EXT-herminator.com.
You're listening to Wrestling with Weight. Now back to your hosts, Sam Amato and Mike Botte.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. We're going to start things off right away. Right now, Sam's going to go ahead and explain what the segment's all about.
The Wrestling with Weight Challenge, ladies and gentlemen.
With some voices.
Mike, the Botte, will be taking on his co-host, going one-on-one with Sammy Smiles to be crowned the very first Wrestling with Weight champion. That's right, we're running a fitness challenge. Mike and I are going head-to-head from now until WrestleMania weekend.
But it's not going to be weight loss, Sam, right? Tell him.
That's right. We're doing body fat percentage. We can't do weight loss based on weight because it wouldn't be fair or even, right? So I weigh more than you.
Yep.
So just the sheer fact that I weigh more than you kind of gives me an upper hand on the weight loss because I can lose weight quicker than you because I have more to lose, right? So in a sense, because I'm healthy and he's healthy. If you have some sort of health complications or you're on some medication, that isn't necessarily the truth. That doesn't necessarily work like that. But anyways, getting back to it, Mike and I are going head-to-head. Mike's come and work out with me a few times at the gym. I know you're trying to get in a couple of jiu-jitsu trainings. You and I have already talked about wanting to get in a couple of days of DDP yoga.
Yeah, 100%.
We have to get that on the calendar, so we have to do that. I've been doing my thing. I did some weight training yesterday, did some weight training the day before. I didn't get anything in yet today. Most likely I'm not going to get anything in today, truthfully, because it's sort of the end of the day. But I'll make sure I get some cardio in tomorrow. So we're doing our part. That doesn't mean that everything goes according to plan or it goes smooth as eggs, right?
Yeah, no. So how have the last couple of weeks been for you, Sam? Overall, have you been staying on the course?
Let me tell you something, brother. My Hogan is terrible, so I'm never going to do that for you again, okay? I promise you. So it's been okay. I think the biggest issue for me has been food because I've found myself to be more active the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
But my
So you're
family
getting more
got
hungry?
sick. I know, right? That's true. You do get more hungry after you become hungrier is the proper way of saying it. After getting into your routine or training and getting some resistance training, even cardio, anything, a lot of times that does make you hungrier. So that's a good point. But my family got COVID.
Oh, no.
And everybody, thankfully, is good. But it kind of threw me off already, right, on how...
It threw off your regular schedule.
Yeah, my routine. And not that I have a smooth routine. I do have ADHD, and that definitely messes with my ability to stay focused. And so it takes a lot for me to stay on track, especially when I'm juggling so much. Not an excuse, but it does play a part, right? Everybody's life is a little bit different.
Yep.
So if I were going to weigh in today, I would have gained some weight.
Okay,
Right.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Good news for you, though, is because of the snowstorm that's about to hit this weekend, we're not weighing in this weekend. It's going to be next weekend.
I have a hard time believing the snow is actually coming until it's actually on the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're saying
The
24 inches. It could be dusting.
Weathermen, they play us so often. It's like they got the easiest job. I feel like they're guessing that shit.
Yeah, and they have all like the computers, and they're like,
and the computer's like, oh, we have a simulation, and we're getting 2 to 24 inches.
only job you could be wrong all the time and
it
still
rains.
have a job.
For real. What a joke.
Yeah.
Not hating, but you guys get away with a lot. All right, so I'd say I'm doing well. And we talked about food a little bit. And I don't know what you're doing for food, but we had talked about the 80-20 rule when we were doing a previous recording, in between recordings. So we talked about the 80-20 rule, and that's basically what I'm working on right now, is trying to eat healthy or clean, in quotes, 80% of the time, and then you get to splurge a little bit with that last 20%. That usually is like a meal, maybe a dessert.
Yep.
You shouldn't do a whole day because a whole day can turn into 2 whole days. And if you're going ham the whole day, you can mess up what you did all week.
You're doing 80-20 a day, or are you doing 80-20 a week?
No, it should be 80-20 for the week.
Yeah, I was going to say, whoa.
So I would say that, like, this week would have, if I were going to gauge it, I was probably like 60-40 because I didn't eat so clean all the time. I wasn't eating fried stuff, but I had more carbs than usual. And I hold on to a lot of water weight, and I love carbs. I'm Portuguese. In my house, you could sit down for dinner and have rice, potatoes, and bread all in the same meal.
Yep.
Is that right? Absolutely not, but that shit happens. Thanks, Ma. I love you. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man.
I'm not putting heat on my mom, but that shit is real.
I believe it. My house, too, was eat everything on the plate before you...
Facts, me too, man.
Italian household, I had a lot of pasta, you know?
And they used to give you the guilt trip, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's starving kids around the world who don't have anything
we
to
weren't
eat.
the
You're out
richest
here
family.
Throwing food out. I hear you, man. Same thing.
Ever projects, motherfucker.
Is that the first time we're actually going to put a bleep in there? Because you know we can't leave the mother effer in there. I want you to go back and bleep yourself, okay?
Okay.
Anyway. All right, so we're back. We're back, and you're going to do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. It is a challenge, but we are homies, and we're here to support one another.
Yeah, no.
So we will get some more workouts in. We talked about getting the DDP yoga going,
Yep.
right? We wanted to do that. We did do some strength training together this week.
Yep. I also been hitting a couple of your classes this week.
Yep.
My diet, personally, I've been probably on that 80-20 this whole week. I've been doing good. A lot of breakfast foods, high in fiber, and some Special K, some Raisin Bran. That way I'm full throughout the day.
Yep.
I've been doing protein shakes, some peanut butter fit in there with the protein shake. I've been doing pretty good. Some late nights I had some, thank you. Some late nights I had some cookies and stuff. But if I had to weigh in today for myself, I'd say I'm the same weight as last week.
Which is absolutely fine, too. And so we've talked about this before, but weight loss is not a downhill slope, right? And it's not a short let's do this right now, and then I go back to eating the way I was eating, right? So it's a thing where you're changing habits and actively going out of your way to change what you're doing right now that's not working for you. So if you hit some bumps, which you will, if you hit some hills, don't overthink it. You're fine. Just hit the reset button and start again. That's literally the best thing for you to do. You don't want to throw in the towel.
Yeah, no, so that's why going forward this week, I'm just going to, since the weigh-in's been put off another week, I'm just going to try to do the right thing this week, exercise more, and we'll see where I'm at next week. But you have to stay on the path, stay on the course. We have a goal at the end, and there's going to be struggles up and down, you know?
This weekend, I'm going to thank the weathermen for predicting the snow because it's giving me another week for me to clean up my act so when we do our next weigh-in, I can beat you again.
Hey, well, we'll see. We'll take it from there, and we'll see.
You're looking at the next champ. The very first champ, Sammy Smiles, is going to be the Wrestling with Weight champion.
We will see. We'll see about that. I mean, hey, it's tough. It's tough to lose weight. That's why I love the challenge because, like I said, we're both winning. But at the end, it's going to be Mike the Body.
Oh,
Body.
I thought you were going to give me that bullshit
I know
about
you thought.
Everybody
You
is
thought
the winner.
wrong.
Yeah.
You thought wrong, baby.
I think you learned your lesson after your kid lost his game.
Oh.
Wait, that's not a jab. That's not a jab at your kid.
We're going to kids now, huh?
No. That's not a jab at your kid. I'm just saying, no, not everybody wins.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're not going to win this shit. So that's all I'm saying. That's it.
Okay. We'll see how it goes.
We'll be right back.
Hey guys, it's Sammy Smiles from the Wrestling with Weight podcast. I'm here to let you know that you're not alone. Weight loss, fitness goals, they're not easy. If you have goals in mind and not sure where to start, then hit me up. I run a personal training studio in Everett. We run group fitness, personal training, in person and online. For more information, visit me on Instagram and on Facebook at WayBetterU. It's WeighBetteru, as in the letter U. Or you can find me at my website at waybetteru.com.
You're listening to Wrestling with Weight. Now back to your hosts, Sam Amato and Mike Botte.
And we're back with the podcast. This is Wrestling with Weight. I'm Sam Amato.
And I am Mike the Body.
At this time, Mike and I have decided that we wanted to give our top 5 for a category. So we're calling this segment the top 5 category. I know, super creative.
Maybe it gets better over time.
I hope so, because it was not creative at all. All right, so Mike and I were having a discussion per usual, and we were talking about some of our favorite wrestlers, and we came up with a top 5 category that we're like, why don't we do a top 5 category on the show, and then let's ask the viewers who their top 5 were, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So today we decided we're going to go with top 5 big men. Now, we weren't really sure how we wanted to break up this category, but we said that they needed to be probably wicked tall,
Over
wicked heavy,
300 maybe.
big as shit,
Yeah.
right? And like, you know, the big men, sometimes I feel like get a bad rep for not being like the best workers. And that's bullshit because they have a harder job than you.
Well, a couple of people on my list are actually recognized as some of the better workers. So it's actually funny you say that because you're right. Some are shit.
Right?
Some have done their work.
Name one shit wrestler that comes to mind when you think about big men.
Only because I heard a story that The Undertaker once told. He got injured back in the day from wrestling with Mabel. Said he was very sloppy in the ring. He actually popped out his eye socket, and that's when he had to wear that mask. I think it was back when he did the Undertaker versus Undertaker afterwards, you know. But, Undertaker's come out and actually said that. Big Daddy V, Viscera, whatever you like to call him, is a little bit sloppy in the ring. Rest in peace.
He just seems like a dangerous guy to be in the ring with. He's just a big,
especially when
massive
he's
man.
Big Daddy V.
I wouldn't even put him in the shit category. I'm actually a little surprised about that story. But I would say the Great Khali is probably one of the shittest of all shittest.
Can't even move.
And I think that's the problem, right? So he's got the wherewithal. He knows he's got presence. He knows he's big, and they know how to kind of work around him. But you remember he was so inflexible in his knees that getting in and out of the ring.
Stiff as a board. Stiff as a board.
So obviously he had some physical limitations that kept him from being a better wrestler, but that didn't stop him from being a top star, which is pretty incredible for a guy who doesn't even speak English either.
Yeah.
Right? He speaks English, but not well enough that they wanted to put him on the mic.
Right.
All right. So you ready to get into the category?
Let's do it.
Mike, why don't you give us your top 5 big men.
Okay, we're going to start things off in no particular order. These are my top 5 big men of wrestling. So I have coming in here, starting things off, is Bam Bam Bigelow.
Bam, bam.
So Bam Bam Bigelow I chose for his entrance music, like Sam just sang right there for us, his flaming skull tattoo, and he was just very quick in the ring and very impressive to get around. Coming in next, I have Vader. Why Vader?
It's time. It's time. It's Vader time.
There you go. So that's because watching him do a moonsault was just incredible to see every single time. The guy getting up and then doing that flip. His feuds with Ric Flair and Sting were incredible in WCW. Followed up next, I'm going to go with Andre the Giant because Andre's influence and impact on the sport was incredible. His WrestleMania 3 moment where Hulk Hogan body slammed him, without that moment, there would be no Hulkamania, in my opinion, and no WrestleMania, pretty much. Moving on from there, I have the next 2 now. Sam, I'm going to go ahead and say these 2 guys are personally my favorite 2 big men, and they are probably number 2 and number 1, respectively. Here we go. At number 2, I have Kane. Kane is one of my all-time favorites.
He's such a Kane mark.
I really am, dude. Not Corporate Kane, and not when he unmasked in 2003. That was kind of bullshit. I didn't like that at all. Like Kane, 97 to 99 scared the shit out of me. But Kane, anyways, his debut, his legacy with The Undertaker, and it's one of the greatest stories ever told, in my opinion. And my number 1 spot, if you haven't known by drum roll please, is going to be The Undertaker.
Dead man walking.
Yeah, Undertaker has evolved over time. His character is the best. His entrance is the best. He's not afraid to put men over. Paul Bearer, you can put Paul Bearer with Kane also, but The Undertaker is the shit, and he's my number 1 all-time favorite big wrestler, Sam.
Nice
Who do you got
list.
on the list?
So let's go back. Let's review. In no particular order, but you told us you're number 2 and number 1. So no particular order. The first person you mentioned was Bam Bam Bigelow. The 4th person or the 2nd person, depending on the order that you're going, you mentioned was Big Van Vader.
That's right.
Then you mentioned Andre the Giant, and then your top 2 were Kane and Undertaker.
Yes, that's right.
Cool.
Who do you got,
All right,
Sam?
I like your list. All righty then. My list in no particular order, but kind of in a particular order. An underrated guy who didn't get a lot of time as a top guy that I feel like they messed up is Mike Awesome. Mike Awesome in ECW was a dangerous man. Even in WWE, he was, for a hot second, a dangerous man. And then he went to WCW, where he went to WCW first. I honestly don't remember much of his WWE stuff, but the WCW stuff was garbage. They made him a tool bag
Mike
on TV.
Awesome in ECW was impressive.
Dangerous.
Dangerous man.
Dangerous.
Big dude.
He was scary.
ECW World Heavyweight Champion.
Scary, dude.
That's it, man. Who do you got for number 4?
That mullet.
That mullet is right.
Number 4, I'm going to mention Rikishi. So, you'll probably hear me say this a lot.
Stink face time.
I love the Anoa'i family. I love it all. I just, as a kid, was obsessed with the head shrinkers. I was a big fan of Tonga Kid. I was a fan of Yokozuna. I was a fan of The Rock. We've got the Usos, Roman Reigns, one of my closest friends, Rosie. I've always been a big fan. So Rikishi was part of the head shrinkers, and then he came back, and he was Rikishi as we know him, with the blonde hair in the sumo garter belt, and then he was in the wrestling trunks. That guy could freaking move. And the one thing that I always remember him doing the best was taking that clothesline and doing that inside-out flip. Not only could he do that, he had that badass Rikishi driver, which I borrowed for a little while when I was doing indie wrestling. Yep. I was a big fan of that finish. His Samoan drops always looked devastating. His super kicks always looked badass. Overall,
good
awesome
in-ring wrestler. Yeah. And his
He knows how to put
match.
on a show. Yes. So Rikishi is in there at number 4. Number 3, easy for me, is Brock Lesnar. there's not much I need to say about Brock Lesnar.
MMA, big motherfucker.
Right? He played on the practice squad for a few NFL teams, decorated college athlete, right? So
Fun
I don't
to
need to
watch,
say
too.
much more than that because Brock is a freak, all right? He's a super talent that you don't come across every single day. My number 2 big man is your number 1 big man, The Undertaker. I was obsessed with him as a kid. His birthday is only 2 days different from mine, which I was a huge fan of. Like when the internet first came out and I was starting to dig up the dirt sheets and finding out who these wrestlers were, finding out that his birthday was March 24th and like his name is Mark and stuff. I thought it was so cool and such a Mark moment for me. But the Hell in a Cell, obviously the many Hell in a Cells that he's been in, for me, a major match that I remember as a kid is the Buried Alive In Your House with Mankind. When I remember being like physically upset that the Undertaker got buried, and then freaking out when his hand popped out of the ground. That shit was amazing to me. He had awesome matches with everybody. He had some great matches, the casket matches, the Inferno match with Kane, the Hell in a Cell. He's had some wild shit happen. His character has changed, but his ability, his physical ability as a big dude is pretty incredible.
In a locker room role model.
Absolutely, right? So think about the tightrope walk that he used to do, that flying clothesline where he flipped himself in the middle of the ring when he gave you that clothesline. When he was trying to get a big dude down. His jumps to the outside.
Yeah, and you said a little while ago some casket matches, and I know his casket match he had with, I believe, is your number 1, Sam.
The one, the only, Yokozuna, Rodney Anoa'i. Dude, I watched his stuff that he was doing before he became Yokozuna in the WWF. He was a lot lighter. That boy can move. And then you see him at 500 pounds, 600 pounds. That big cell before he took that bump was everything because he didn't have to do a lot there.
Yeah.
When he took the snap bump, boom, and he took a nice bump on his back, beautiful. His leg drops were beautiful. His belly to bellies were beautiful. He was a great freaking wrestler. He could freaking move. And Yokozuna has always been number 1 in my book as my favorite big man.
All right, well, that's our top 5.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good list. We want to know now who would be your top 5 guys. And obviously, this is just for fun, right? We're just
no one has
typical
to attack
fans.
anybody.
Chill. It's just a regular. Here's my opinion, right? This is no political BS. This is my opinion. And then oh, cool. I like your list. And if you don't like your list, guess what? You don't have to say shit.
That's right. And stay tuned for more top 5s because we can go on with this. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have more segments like this to come.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Farrah the Exterminator here. I'm a local Boston-based pest control company, female-owned and operated. We do it all, commercial, residential. You got insects, you got rodents. Call us, 617-816-5004. We just don't kill people. Check us out at theexterminator.com. That's EXT, herminator.com.
You're listening to Wrestling with Weight. Now back to your hosts, Sam Amato and Mike Botte.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our main event of the episode. Hey guys, and we're back for our final segment of the show, back on Wrestling with Weight. I'm here with my co-host, Mike Botte, and we have a guest for you today. We have a Boston native, and Mike, I said this earlier in the show. We say we're from Boston, but really we're not. He's a guy from Boston, and they're the type of people that'll argue this on a regular. It doesn't matter what part of Boston you're from. If somebody from Everett says they're from Boston, everybody immediately says the same thing. No, you're not. You're not from Boston. So we're going to lead into that, but I just want to introduce to you very quickly our guest, Pat Dillon. He's the owner of Ufo Wrestling, and he also has a great health and wellness success story that he wants to share a little bit with, share a little bit of that with us. But first, let's welcome Pat to the show. Pat, thanks for coming.
Listen, guys, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Pat, so we have a few things that we want to talk about. We want to talk about the UFO wrestling promotion that you run, how you got started. We're going to talk about you running for mayor, and we want to talk a little bit about your health successes and what you've done to achieve those successes. So we're going to start first with UFO wrestling. Mike, what's the first thing you have on your mind? What do you want to say?
Yeah, Pat. My first question to you is going to be what made you want to start a wrestling federation like this, like UFO?
Originally, it was my brother. He was bored with life and decided that he wanted to start doing shows. And I was watching what he was doing, and I didn't like the direction he was going because I've got experience. I trained prior to him running a promotion, and I've been to a few events, and I've helped out in a few events. And when I seen the direction he was going in, I said, I got to jump in with him. And
have you been a lifelong wrestling fan?
Yes, absolutely. Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. in front of the TV, absolutely.
Who was your favorite character growing up? Or who are your favorite wrestlers?
Oh, we got to go. We're going back to world class.
There you go. Yeah, bring it on.
Missing Link, Iceman, King Parsons. That's where I developed a huge, love for the industry is those guys.
So what year did you and your brother Randy, right? You and your brother
Yes.
Randy get started running?
That was 2008, and it was actually on his birthday that year.
Okay.
And that's how he set it up to do it. August 23rd, 2008. Big Bang, where it all started.
Yep.
Nice. Now, Pat, you have an event actually coming up next month or this month, depending on the day this podcast gets released. Let them know where is it at? What time does it start?
That's Friday, February 25th. It's our annual February vacation segment, and it's at the Malden Irish American Club, Malden, Massachusetts. It's 177 West Street. General admission seats, one price for all, $15, and doors will open at 7.
Nice. You have a main event advertised yet?
No, but I can disclose it right now.
Let's go. Exclusive.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I like
let's go ahead. I like it.
Slick Wagner Brown will take on Ilya Markopoulos.
Very nice. Very nice. You excited? That sounds like a great main event. Slick Wagner Brown,
Yeah.
New England veteran, Kowalski original, Kowalski instructor. He's got his own school down in Connecticut now. His opponent's
Awesome.
also
Sounds
a
like
great
it's gonna be a fun
athlete.
show.
Pat, you mentioned super quick. We'll come back to the show, but you mentioned that you trained for a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about that and where it ended or how it ended?
So, growing up, because of the fan of wrestling I was, some rumors had surfaced in South Boston, and it wasn't true. And then all of a sudden, after high school, I had a small stint at college, and then I did some amateur boxing. And then I was like, you know what? Malden's a hop, skip, and a jump from Southie. So let me make a call. I spoke with Walter Kowalski. Next thing you know, 2 days later, I was up watching a training session. That night, I had my contract signed to become a professional wrestler. And that was, I think, September 1998.
Wow. Who were you training at the facility with at that time?
Oh, God. I don't want to drop names, but at that time, Slick Wagner Brown was there, as we mentioned. Jason Rumble, who took the persona of the
I just did a
BB.
show the other day.
Damian Sandow. Once in a while, Matt Bloom came through, who's currently head trainer at NXT at the
Prince
Performance Center. Bo Douglas.
Awesome, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, there was a good cast of characters there. Trained Mike Hollow was the head trainer at the time, and learned a lot. Learned a lot from those guys. Everybody helped each other there.
I want to know. Tell me more about why we're not asking about Pat Dillon, the wrestler these days, and we're asking about Pat Dillon, the promoter. Did you not end up wrestling?
Sam, it's funny is coming from. I played basketball in high school, and then, like I said, I transitioned into amateur boxing. So having those two skills, the wrestling thing I picked up pretty easy. The footwork, the stop and going, the movement. And I had gotten hurt training at one point. I spiked myself. And I just never recovered mentally from it. I did fulfill a dream of competing in a battle royal. I was trained literally, I don't even think I was 3 months, but I was skilled enough to be, fed to the wolves, and so maybe that was like my one and done, but
there are rumors, though. Hold on a second. There are rumors. There's a one and done, but there's rumors that you might be a particular wrestler from Southie that is under a hood. Can you confirm or deny that? I've seen that guy on a few shows. Comes running out with a mask, very, very patriotic in the Irish colors.
That's how the rumor got started originally.
That you were a masked wrestler? Somebody
Called me that randomly one day, back when I was just out of high school, and somehow eventually down the road, this so-called masked wrestler surfaced. And I think he only surfaced because the shows that were happening in South Boston, and as a promoter, why would I not book the Castle Island Assassin?
Right.
There you go.
So
Pat, not to, we have to segue in. I wanted to speak a little bit about your running for mayor. So you're running for mayor of Southie?
And are you going to be wearing the said mask?
He might be, if I become the mayor of Southie, he may be riding alongside of me in the convertible during the parade.
Brilliant. I love it.
What makes you want to run for mayor of Southie?
So years ago, this fundraiser started. The mayor of Boston at the time had cut the funding of the parade for some certain reason. And they still wanted to put the parade on. So a couple guys got together, brainstormed, and they said, let's do a fundraiser. We'll do this contest, the mayor of Southie. So a group of about 5 guys got together and started hosting various fundraisers through the town. And within like a month, they raised somewhat like $50,000. And the parade was on. And it worked for them, so they continued it every year.
So tell us how this works. There are obviously more people that sign up for this, but are you doing fundraising?
Yes. I'm currently waiting right now because I signed my official papers with the Allied War Veterans of South Boston on Friday. And I had already started a GoFundMe page and doing football squares as part of the fundraiser. I've reached out on Facebook to see if any of the local watering holes wanted to host a fundraiser in person. I am liable by contract to attend 2 events that the Allied War Veterans host. And it's basically, they get your ballot boxes, you speak a little, and every dollar counts as one vote. And that's how they base the winner on this Mayor of Southie.
Wow. So is there a record that someone has already set that you guys are trying to beat?
That I don't know. That I don't know on individual numbers. I just know I'm ahead of the game right now.
So do you guys get to see what everybody is earning at the same time? Do you give tallies?
When the war veterans count, yes. Yeah.
So that'll kind of give you an idea of where your standings are within the ranks of
Yes.
people running for mayor, and then you can decide whether you need to hustle more and
Yeah,
be a little bit
exactly.
anxious about what's next. So do you know how many people are actually running?
I don't. When I spoke to him originally, there was 4 others. But I had noticed on one of my posts on Facebook, one of the ones he mentioned said that they're backing me. So I'm guessing that person dropped out. But I'm going to let a little hints, not really a hint, but something that I'm capitalizing off a movie that I saw years ago where somebody, Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
Familiar with it at all?
I know the name. I can't tell you I've seen it.
He was a con man in Florida, and the congressman passed away. And he held the same name as the congressman. So he banked on getting into Congress on a con and said, vote for Jeff Johnson, the name you know. And it worked for him in the movie.
Hey, there you go.
The last mayor of Southie, she was a Dillon.
We were both curious to find out if Pat Dillon as an individual is a well-known individual or if the Dillon family has some sort of legacy in Southie.
Oh, the family definitely has legacy. Me, I fly under the radar. People don't know who I am, but people will, and I don't know who people are.
But that's why you're out here doing this now, so people can get to know you more, get those votes coming in.
We may have the next mayor of Southie right here with us live on Wrestling
First,
with Wade.
before anyone else.
What can we do as a podcast? How can we support you? Where do we send money? How does that work? And can you be from outside of Southie to donate?
Absolutely. Mike already has.
Okay.
Hey.
Mike bought a few squares.
Oh, you mentioned that.
I can host an event outside of Southie.
Okay.
My only obligation is those 2 events that the Allied War veterans host.
So is there like a GoFundMe page like you mentioned? Can they go to the GoFundMe page? I'm sorry.
There is a link on my one of my latest posts. I think I pinned it to my Facebook page. And it has the link to my Cash App, my Venmo, and the GoFundMe page.
Do you have a Mayor of Southie official page that people are following?
No.
Let's get that shit together. Let's do it.
Get that up and running. Get some
Let's
people
get
liking
people
you.
following it, and we'll put the GoFundMe page in there.
Yeah. Well, that's something I'd like to get started.
We'll definitely promote it for
I got to
you.
put some.
How much time you got left? When's the vote?
Not till March 15th is the last day.
So we got
they
some
count.
time.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys, I could generate this page. I mean, between the wrestling and life, with the show coming up, I could add another page.
Do it.
I know, this is an important page to add up there. It'll be great for you. Promote it on your UFO. We'll promote the shit out of it.
Let's go.
We'll get it out there for you. Get it up and running. Support you.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate that. Absolutely.
I mean, you're already on Facebook anyway, so what's another live?
Right?
What's another live just on a different page? The UFO Wrestling Show that's coming up. What's the date?
Friday, February 25th, 7 p.m., the Malden Irish American Club, 177 West Street in Malden.
Where can you
Doors
find
will
tickets?
Open at 7. Tickets are $15.
Can you buy them at the door?
Yes.
Should anyone buy them in advance?
Yes, they could. And I actually guarantee a front row seat when you buy in advance.
All right.
And you can do that through my Cash App with my Venmo. just as long as I know.
All right, we'll promote that on the Facebook page and the Instagram page.
Your name gets put on your seat.
Awesome.
Then we want to vote for you for the mayor of Southie. Again, we're going to put that GoFundMe page up so people can follow that. As soon as Pat creates the other page, we'll promote that. And now we're going to the major topic here. We want to talk about your health and wellness transformation and what kind of led us to this decision and where you stand on your decision and how you feel physically now.
So, Pat, you decided you want to get some surgery done. What was the surgery and why did you want to have it done?
I got the gastric sleeve, and that was back in May of 2016. I had saw some success with some people that I know, and I was upwards of 350, 360 at the time. And I was a little upset with myself that I let myself get that heavy.
Now, Sam, for the people that don't know, what is sleeve surgery?
I'm sure Pat can explain it better, but if I understand correctly, they cut a portion of your stomach out, so you're left with just a small pouch, and they redirect the food from the stomach to the small intestine as opposed to the large intestine, and then they reconnect the other tube that goes from the stomach to the small intestine, or from the large intestine to the small intestine. Basically, I'm not a doctor here, but does that sound...
Sounds pretty fucking good to me.
Right?
Yeah, they pretty much after they cut the stomach, rerouted the intestines.
Right. And so that's an effort to kind of keep you from ingesting too much food and not being able to ingest all the nutrients from the food.
So what was your diet like before the surgery and what's your diet like now today opposed to after the surgery? How's that coming along?
Mountain Dew.
There you go.
Is that your diet?
I didn't eat. I never ate.
Really? So beforehand it was just chugging 2 liters of Mountain Dew?
That's it. Mountain Dew. I mean, I did indulge in, meals every now and again, but 90% of my body was Mountain Dew.
That's crazy, man. You loved your Mountain Dew, yeah?
Yeah.
So what's your diet like today?
Oh.
Have you changed it a lot more? Or have you gone back to... how hard is it to stay in that mindset to eat healthy after the surgery too,
It lasted for me about maybe three years before I started getting back into things. I was just doing very well, and all of a sudden I developed what they told me prior, a sweet tooth.
Okay.
And my go-to was Swedish fish.
Ooh.
I felt like I wasn't getting anything out of it, or it made me I wasn't feeling good. And then I made probably the biggest mistake I could have made. And I went to Monster Energy Juice.
Oh, okay. So you went back to juices again.
And
which doesn't really take up a lot of space in your stomach, does it? Because it's a liquid, right? So it doesn't take very long for your body to absorb that and pass it through for you to be able to kind of empty out your stomach to drink again.
Yeah. And I still till this day, 6 years later, still cannot eat and drink at the same time.
It's too much. Too much is too filling.
Yeah.
Tell us, what was your heaviest weight that you know of? You told us what you weighed around the time that you did surgery, but what was your heaviest? And then tell us what your lightest was and where you are now.
After a stint in the hospital with pneumonia and a lung infection, they had me all juiced up on prednisone. And it put me, just shy of 400 pounds.
Wow.
And I looked like a balloon in the parade.
And you were all belly.
Yeah. And after I got off the prednisone, immediately I went back down to like the 355 area. And then after surgery, in 6 months, I went from 355. Actually, I lied because the nutritionist wouldn't sign off on the surgery because I was still drinking soda and eating bacon, egg, and cheese bagels for breakfast.
Were they strict about allowing you to move forward?
Yes.
What were some things that they requested from you, or what were some things that you needed to do before surgery, before you even got approved?
I had to see the psychiatrist on a periodic basis to see if my head was, my mind was capable of making this change. I saw a nutritionist on a regular, and then I had a few meetings with the surgeon involved. But because of my habits, the nutritionist said absolutely not. So I had told the nutritionist, I said, listen, I perform when my back's against the wall. She kind of blew it off. And then when I went and sat down with the psychiatrist again, and I said, I told the nutritionist that I perform when my back's against the wall. So she looked at me dead in the eye and says, your back's against the wall. I said, okay. Cold turkey, soda, breakfast sandwiches, went right to protein shakes 3 times a day. In 2 weeks, lost 7 pounds. Nutritionist signed right off on it.
How long did it take you for the weight to come off after the surgery? Was it kind of instant, or did it take months? Did it take, I don't know. Like, how long did it take?
That was May after getting canceled. 7 o'clock the night before surgery, they called me. I had a 5 a.m. call time. They called me and told me surgery's canceled. You can go eat. I said to the nurse, I said, you got a fat kid going in for weight loss surgery that you just told can go eat
That's
right
kind
now.
of fucked up.
Go get some cupcakes now.
I'm like, where's that gallon of Brigham's strawberry? So I didn't go eat. No, I mean, I might have had a slice of pizza that night. From May to November, just before Thanksgiving, I went from that 355 down to 207.
Wow, holy shit. Wow, that's a lot of weight.
That is a lot of weight.
With no loose skin.
So your skin tightened up on you?
Yes.
That's incredible, because I know that's a lot of surgery afterwards to tighten up the loose skin, right? Normally for people.
Yes. And I think I had help that I don't think my doctors on the weight loss side really factored in. Is at the time I was on testosterone treatments. And being 350 plus, it was a large dose to get through the fat.
Okay. So they didn't reduce you on your dose as you were losing the weight?
No. I don't think my weight loss team was really aware of the treatments.
Your energy was way up because of the testosterone?
Yeah, but I didn't step foot in the gym once.
You work for the town of Boston, the city of Boston. Are you on foot a lot?
What's that?
Are you on foot a lot?
My job was walking.
So he's already
ahead of the game. Already got
had a little
exercise in
code in there.
Yeah.
Excellent. So 355 to 207?
Yes.
And so how long ago was that, and where do you stand now? What's your weight, if you don't mind sharing?
No, that was so November 2016, I was at 207. And I'll be honest, I got scared there. Because even as a teenager, I wasn't even at 207.
Yeah. Did you feel
all through high
unhealthy?
school, I was in the two.
Were you feeling unhealthy?
No, my mind was not there. I put a medium shirt on for the first time in my life.
Crazy, right? Isn't that crazy when you get down to those, because I have a couple of those weight loss stories myself, and it's incredible then you put the weight back on, and you're like, "Fuck! What happened to my favorite shirt I used to wear?"
When I did that competition.
Today, I am at, I'm going to say 245.
All right.
Okay.
And do you feel comfortable? Is that a comfortable weight for you? How long have you been at this weight for?
I've been at this weight probably now for about a year.
Okay.
And you feel good here?
You know, I feel all right here.
Energy wise, yeah. You mean like you can get around, no problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can still
Still
move
put on the mask.
and still do things. No. Don't get me wrong. I'd like to go back down again because now that I put this weight back on, I go, that 207 wasn't bad.
Did you have any health complications or things that were relieved once you lost the weight?
The only thing I had was high blood pressure.
Okay.
And I've had that my whole life. And it tweaked a little bit, but I still have it.
And so
Still have high blood pressure.
So you're working out or walking daily, and that's more hereditary than anything else, right? So you still have to watch what you're doing to try to maintain and try to be at a healthy blood pressure. But are you doing any medication or anything that is going to help you out?
Yeah.
So what's your overall takeaway from the surgery? It sounds like you're happy with it, and it sounds like you had some success. Is it something that you would encourage other people to look into?
Absolutely. I've seen the reaction I've gotten from people in the way they treat me. And you know what? And I've always said this to those people. I didn't change, just my appearance changed.
So it makes you more aware of just what you put into your body and how you feel, and it just motivates you more to be more healthy overall, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so do you feel like it's easy to maintain?
I have seen the success that it does. And I've seen the change in people towards me in general, personally, and the people around me that I know have had the surgery, I saw the success that they had with it.
I have a question about
nice confidence
before
boost.
surgery. So when they had you start drinking those shakes and you stopped everything cold turkey, at any point did you think that if I can do this and continue going like this, I can lose the weight? I won't have to do the surgery. Did you ever think about stepping away from the surgery after losing the initial weight?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. The dieting regimen in the beginning is tough because they want you to consume X amount of proteins and liquids and stuff like that.
It's a lifestyle change overall. It's a lifestyle change that you have to stick with for the rest of your life. And to be realistic here, it's tough to do. I mean, it's hard to do.
It's damn near impossible.
Almost like you were feeling defeated, like you basically said, "I'm throwing in the towel. I can't do this on my own," or you didn't trust that you can do it on your own. Is that the type of feeling you had?
No, I had this conversation with the therapist, and she broke it down for me and did like a spreadsheet. She goes, "You're gonna hit probably about on your own. You're probably gonna hit about 100 pounds, and that's it. And you're never going to get beyond it. It's going to be a struggle beyond your imagination." And that's what triggered me even more, because I contemplated and beat myself up over it. Each time I went in, should I do it? Should I not? Should I do it? Should I not? Even seeing the success of the people I know that had it, I was still inside. Can't believe that I felt like I was doing myself wrong by even entertaining having the surgery.
But then did you find out later that it is more than just a physical? There's a lot of mental that goes into being able to lose weight and keep the weight off.
No,
And
I felt guilty because I couldn't do it on my own. Like, I should be able to do this on my own. Like excuse me, like I'm cheating myself by doing it with surgery.
Your ability to stay away from food, right? That's part of the game. But like, that's why we have so many overweight people, that it's not just as simple as going into the gym and working out.
So many things can happen in your life that can, you be in the zone at one moment, then boom, something happens and it takes you out of the zone for a while too.
Yeah, I mean, it's the everyday stresses in our lives. That's huge. You know, I credit my last 25 pounds because of stress, because of something I went through 2 years ago.
So just resuming this conversation here, because we want to have you back on, and we want to discuss more in depth with you about wrestling. But you did this surgery because you felt like you needed the help. At first, you were uncomfortable with the idea, and you did it. Now you feel good. Overall, you're feeling healthy. You've been able to maintain a weight, and it's something that you would suggest for others to even look into if they find themselves having trouble losing weight. We want to thank Pat for coming on the show, but before we go any further, we need to talk about UFO Wrestling. Tell them one more time about the show and where they can get their tickets.
UFO Wrestling February Vacation takes place Friday, February 25th at the Malden Irish American Club at 177 West Street in Malden. Doors open at 7 p.m. Tickets are $15, general admission, and you can look up UFO Wrestling on all social media networks and find out any other information you need.
Pat, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. I really would look forward to the next time we're able to talk some wrestling, talk some wrestling stories and everything as well.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on here, man. Anytime you want.
Mike, just for the record, I've been an independent wrestler in the past. I'm really not in the ring right now, but I've worked on a lot of Pat's shows. He puts on a great show. And if there's any indicator of the type of talent or caliber of talent that he has on a regular basis on these shows, Tommaso Ciampa was on the show.
Awesome.
Brian Malonis, who's a Ring of Honor guy, on his shows. Todd Hansen, who is now one of the Viking Raiders, has been a regular on the show. Who else? Anthony Green has been on the show, who's huge in AEW right now. Who else?
That's awesome.
Sasha Banks. So he's
T-Bar.
Who's
Dijak.
T-Bar. He was in NXT. He's now on Raw.
Yeah.
Viking Raiders guys?
No.
That's Ivar, yes.
Ivar is, but T-Bar is another face.
T-Bar is the...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool, man, having these people run through your organization at one point in time.
Who's it right now? The NXT champ there, Carmelo Hayes. There's just a plethora of talent out there that have come through my doors, as well as many other company doors.
Isn't that incredible? That's so cool to say that you started the promotion and have these guys come through your promotion, man. That's awesome. I respect the hell out of that. That's really cool. Just being a wrestling fan, I'm coming from, I grew up on a time, I loved the golden age of wrestling, like the late 80s. I love the 90s, the Attitude Era. And I stopped watching around 2001, 2002. But just doing this podcast again really fueled my fire. A good friend of mine once told me wrestling is like comfort food. And it really is. It brings me back to my childhood. Like, it brings me back to a time. I just love the character development. I love that we had you on as our, a good guest, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Listen, my pleasure. Like I said, anytime you want.
All right. We're so thankful. Again, thanks, Pat Dillon, the future mayor of South Boston.
Go get him, dude. Make that page, too.
We're going to be promoting everything. Follow the Instagram page. Follow the Facebook page. We thank you for tuning in to Wrestling with Weight. We'll see you the next episode.